always knew Tom Hardy would be my ultimate downfall. I just didn't know how. Hi, my name is Haley Whipjack. You can call me Haley, you can call me Whipjack, you can call me whatever you want as long as you're like cool about it. I love Venom. And I am empty inside. I saw Venom 3: The Last Dance 2024 on its opening night, bright-eyed and full of delusion. I left Venom 3: The Last Dance 2024 on its opening night, asking aloud to the empty theater, is that it? Was that the movie? And I haven't stopped thinking about it since. So let's talk about it. How was Venom 3? Before we get too into it, if you like what I do here, if you want extra content, if you want things before everybody else, you should join my Patreon, patreon.com/Haley Whipjack. You get an extra video every single month, actually 2 videos this last month. This old man is gonna kiss on the mouth on our 4th date? Like some kind of floozy. What is the number one thing you do not want to stumble across in a zombie apocalypse? Say it with me. 3, 2, 1. Room full of mannequins. Same as any other day. We'd love to have you there. It's a real party of definitely all humans. Of course. What? So why would you ask if they're all humans? It's the next video in a pre-existing series, you may be asking. I am chasing the dopamine. I am feeding the mental health. I am healing. Okay? You have no idea how good of a sign it is that I watched a movie and dropped everything to make a video. The content coming up is gonna be good. My brain is back. We're gonna start without spoilers. Okay, so if you're just here for the vibes and a numerical rating, that's this part, and then we'll get into the whiteboard and the nitty gritty after that. Here it goes. Venom 3: The Last Dance 2024 feels like 2 movies randomly interspliced together. One of those movies was made for me specifically, and the other movie was made for a guy I have never met and have nothing in common with. Both of those movies were missing 20% of their runtime. One of them was missing the last 20%, and the other one I think was missing the first 20%. The villain is the least developed villain I've ever seen in a superhero movie, which is impressive given the genre. I had a really great time. For large swaths of this movie, I was having fun, I was into it, I was invested, I was theorizing, and all the same, I was left in a sea of confusion and despair at the end. I have never white-knuckled a roll of credits that hard. Just begging and praying for a post-credit scene that would provide any sense of closure. I'm notoriously easy to please when it comes to movies. If you were to ever stop me on the street and ask me what my favorite movie is, I would probably give you a list of 5 to 10 movies, and almost every single time, the last movie I watched is going to be on that list. I love movies. And I love Venom. Venom 2018, 2019, the first one, and Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage 2020, whatever. Masterpieces to me, okay? The fact that I am not just happily raving about a fundamentally silly little superhero movie is a real source of despair for me. But also, I can't stop thinking about it. If you can turn your whole brain off for an hour and a half, it's a really short movie, you're gonna have a great time. You're gonna have a great time, unless you're like me and the ending sort of pushes you on a life raft into the middle of the ocean all by yourself and you're left cursing Tom Hardy's good name. Then you're probably not going to enjoy it so much, but you're going to love the hour and a half that precedes it. 4 out of 10. I don't know what I wanted this movie to be. It's not what they gave me. Now we're in spoiler time. I have created a list of 11 things that really happen in Venom 3: The Last Dance 2024 that set every molecule in my body on edge. These are the things that I cannot stop thinking about. These are the reasons that I had to stop everything I was doing and make a video about this right now. And for each of those 11 things, I will also take a pause after and say something I genuinely loved about Venom 3: The Last Dance 2024, because there were some things that I genuinely loved. And I don't want you to think that I'm here to hate on Venom or Tom Hardy, because I'm not, and I could never. It wasn't all despair. I'm gonna keep referencing my despair because it's very present and very real to me. But it wasn't all despair. I'm gonna present these things in chronological order, the way they happen in the movie. As much as I want to jump into the deep end right away, I will instead be holding your hand. And I'll be taking you in from the shallow end first, okay? Don't be scared. And now the list. Number 1, who is Venom 2? I don't know her. They undo the mid-credit scene of Venom 2 Let There Be Carnage within the first 5 minutes of the movie. To refresh your memory, Venom 2 ends with a little scene where Venom and Eddie are spontaneously transported into another universe. In fact, the MCU's universe. They see Tom Holland's Peter Parker on the TV screen, and Venom knows that guy. This movie opens with Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso as a bartender in Mexico explaining to Eddie and Venom that his whole family got snapped away by Thanos. Eddie is confused. And then they are spontaneously teleported back to their own dimension. Back to the Venomverse. I wasn't expecting Spider-Man from this movie. I really wasn't. And I don't want you to think I was. If Spider-Man was in this movie, first off, would have been in the trailers. Second off, if they were trying to keep it a secret in the trailers, they certainly wouldn't have kept it a secret from the internet. Okay? We've all seen how easy it is for Spider-Man secrets to get all over. I knew there wasn't going to be Spider-Man. It's possible that I sort of forgot that that scene was at the end of Venom 2 until this movie opened up and it was like, hey, do you remember how Venom 2 ended? Not anymore! Eddie Brock does not question this phenomenon further. Once in the movie, he doesn't bring up the multiverse thing at all. He has other things to be worrying about, but I feel like when I met a bunch of scientists later in the movie, I maybe would have been like, hey, by the way, did you know there's other universes? And sometimes they will just kidnap you? You should look into that. Bouncing over to something I love. This is an Eddie and Venom road trip movie, or at least one of the movies in there is, and I love a Simbrock road trip movie conceptually. There is almost nothing better to me. You could have said, Haley, what do you want Venom 3 to be? And it might have taken me a few goes to get to road trip movie, but goddamn, it would have been on the list. A road trip movie where Eddie Brock is more wet and pathetic and socially awkward than ever before. Yes, please, thank you. They start in Mexico and their plan is to head up to New York where Eddie knows a guy that he can maybe blackmail into clearing all of his charges from the previous movie. The government has blamed him for the death of that guy at the end of the last movie. So they intend to cross the entire continental United States on foot. Yeah, Eddie Brock would do that. Number 2 on this list is the Lightning backstory. Keely Jones from Ted Lasso is in this movie. It's a very Ted Lasso heavy movie. As far as superhero movies go, she's playing a scientist named Teddy Payne, I believe. Dr. Payne, Dr. Teddy Payne. I hate the name. She's a scientist. She's doing alien science. She's studying symbiotes. She's really into them. When Dr. Teddy Payne was a child, her twin brother was super into space and science, all of that. And one night they were on the beach looking up at the stars, talking about space and science, when they heard a storm start to come in. So they decided to leave the beach. But before they made it off the beach, Teddy Payne was struck by lightning exactly as she reached for her twin brother's hand, making her a conduit for that lightning. And it left her with Lichtenberg scars all up one arm and kind of up onto her neck as well. But her brother did not get off so easily. Because she doesn't have a brother anymore. And so now Dr. Teddy Payne works with aliens and symbiotes in space because her brother cannot. She's living her brother's dream for him. But also, she's just like really into symbiotes. She inherently believes in their individuality and their personhood, and she connects with them. So why does she need a sad dead brother backstory? It's the first thing we see of her, by the way. It's our introduction to her character as she's having a nightmare about this backstory. It's the first thing we learn about her. She does not need a sad dead brother backstory. She just doesn't. Her scars come up when another symbiote, there's other symbiotes. She works for Area 55. We'll get into it a little more. Another symbiote mentions that she is broken too. I don't think that's right. I know so many people who would willingly cover a side of their body in Lichtenberg scar like tattoos. Without a doubt, they look cool. Cool scars is not a crime. It's just not. Also, they keep bringing up her dead brother out of nowhere, usually. And he doesn't connect to anything. She didn't need this tragic backstory. It's so weird that it is the first thing we learn about her. They keep bringing it up. And it doesn't matter ever. Maybe I just wanted to enjoy Dr. Keely Jones on her own merit. Is that so wrong? Number 2 on things I simply and plainly loved about this movie, Venom will not stop warging into various animals. Any wildlife they find, Venom is leaving Eddie, insane, and just fusing with animals. There's a Venom frog. I know in the trailer they showed Venom horse. They take a horse, Venom wargs into horse and becomes Venom horse, and Eddie gets on Venom horse and they gallop across the desert for a little while, and that's great. I did love Venom horse. Venom frog, though, is very dear to me. That's just so fun. And you know, everyone who was working on the movie was just so stoked to continuously make more and more Venom versions of animals. I would have been. And you know for sure they were, because the end credits, the art behind the end credits is just a Venom as various animals that they didn't get in the movie. It's like, well, here's a Venom elephant that we made. We didn't have a reason to make a Venom elephant in the plot, but we wanted to see him as an elephant. So here he is. It's perfect. Number 3 on this list, Null is nothing. So the bad guy of this movie, the main villain of this movie, is named Null. And the thing about Null is that Null sits in one spot with his face obscured with his hair, because he's like this. He's looking down, right? He sits in one spot the whole movie, all the way on the other side of space. He doesn't know Venom. He doesn't know Eddie. They don't know him, not personally. Venom knows of him. There is no personal connection, no beef here at all. And Null doesn't do anything because of how he is sitting in one spot on the other side of space. So how's he the bad guy? Well, he has all these weird dogs called xenophages. They're aliens, they're monsters. They're not actually dogs, but every time I looked at them, I went, that's a really weird dog. And he sends them out to go kill Eddie and Venom through little portals and things. And they can sense Eddie and Venom when they're fused, and they're gonna go kill him. Am I supposed to care about Null? I don't think so. I sure hope not. I don't, and they gave me no reason to. He's nothing. He doesn't even, slay. They didn't give him a couple good lines or a sexy little outfit. Nothing. Nothing to hold on to. This does connect to the third thing that I just love, which is that Eddie and Venom's bond is so powerful and unique and special that it is the key to an apocalypse. It's called the Codex, and the Codex is what is created when Eddie and Venom specifically fuse into one being. When we are Venom, they have the Codex because Eddie died at the end of the first movie, and Venom went back into him and healed him and brought him back to life. That created the Codex. That is this special bond that they have. And the xenophages, the weird dogs, need to kill Venom, get the Codex, and bring it back to Null so he can stop sitting in one space forever. They can break him free of that. Whatever. I love that the whole plot revolves around Eddie and Venom's bond being just so special. It's the most specialist thing in the whole universe. Number 4, where is Anne? And for a matter of fact, where is Dan? Anne Wang and Dr. Dan are not in this movie at all. It's because they're in San Francisco. They live where they live, and none of this movie takes place there. It starts in Mexico, and then we end up in Nevada for pretty much the entire rest of the runtime. As much as Eddie's trying to get to New York, he's not very good at it. But Anne and Dan were so important in the previous 2 movies, both to Eddie, their relationships are very important, but also to the plot. They're very central in both the first and second installments. So it was noticed when in the third, They're just not in. They're not even referenced, I don't believe. This one is short. I just think not including them was a wild choice. I wanted my girl boss and her little doctor husband. Fourth thing I loved, Eddie keeps losing his shoes. It's a running bit. I thought maybe it was gonna get annoying, but it didn't. It tickled me every single time. He's so pathetic. He just kept losing shoes and then having to wander around barefoot until somebody took pity on him and gave him new shoes. Look, I need to write on the board, okay? You're gonna have to get up for a second? Lark? Number 5, friendship ended with Area 51. Now Area 55 is my best friend. The US government in this movie is demolishing Area 51 just for kicks, I think. And Area 55 will remain underground, right where Area 51 was, and that's where they do the actual work. So Area 51, no real aliens, just kind of a tourist thing, not a threat to anybody. Area 55, right there, directly right there underneath Area 51, very dangerous, full of science. They have a bunch of other symbiotes down in Area 55, just like chilling in cryo tubes and vats and stuff. They're not fused to anybody most of the time. They do let one out to fuse with the guy who died at the end of the last movie, who didn't actually die. He's not important, but they do give him a symbiote briefly, and it doesn't do anything. But it does happen. The reason this is on the list for me is because I think there's no faster way to have everybody in America making brand new conspiracy theories than demolishing Area 51. Also, Area 55 being directly beneath Area 51 is driving me bonkers because that's the same area. You can't say those are different areas with different numbers. Those are objectively the same area. Whatever. I just think if you already have an existing red herring that hides your real actual alien facility, you should keep that there instead of destroying and demolishing it. Next thing I loved, there's like a hippy-dippy family that travels in a van in this movie, and the children are named Echo and Leaf. That's just accurate. I work with children. I know exactly the parents that name their kids Echo and Leaf. And they nailed it. Rhys Ifans, who plays Otto Hightower on House of the Dragon, is the dad in this movie. I did like seeing him be nice to his movie children. That was good. And you know what? I'm gonna loop them, Echo, Leaf, and their dad, Martin, and their mom, who also probably had a name, back into the point of friendship ended with Area 51. Because Martin and his family are in this movie because they're going to Area 51 because they heard it's going to get demolished. It's public knowledge that Area 51 is getting demolished. And he wants to go there to see if he can see himself an alien, before it's too late. So the movie acknowledges that people heard that Area 51 was going to get demolished and they started swarming, as they would. But it's just Martin? Martin is the only person who wants to do that? I don't think so. Number 6, Venom has no brain and it almost kills Mrs. Chen. Mrs. Chen is a character who is in both Venom 1 and Venom 2. She works a corner store and is Venom's second favorite human ever, I think. Maybe third. I don't know where Anne is on that list. She's high up there. Venom loves Mrs. Chen. He briefly possessed Mrs. Chen in the last movie, and they run into her in this movie where she's gambling in Vegas. They end up in Vegas for like a long time. The weird dogs that are after the Codex are ferocious, deadly predators. Nothing can kill them. They reform after every major injury. The military's been trying to take them down all movie. They can't do it. Venom doesn't stand a chance. Eddie certainly doesn't stand a chance. These things are bad. And the weird dogs can only sense Venom when he is fully fused over Eddie Brock. They are the We Are Venom of it all. So when Mrs. Chen invites Eddie and Venom to her penthouse suite that she has gained access to by being so good at gambling, Venom goes, "We need to dance, Mrs. Chen, you and I," and fully fuses with Eddie to dance with her. Venom knows that the weird dogs can find them nearly instantly after he fuses over Eddie. He's the one who told Eddie that, and it's been proven over and over again. He is dumb. He's dumb. He's really dumb. I don't think he was this dumb in the last movies. Reckless, yes. Aggressive, yes. Violent, quick to anger, yes. Just an idiot? No, I don't think so. And he likes Mrs. Chen. It's not like he's just willing to do this because it's whatever. He wants to dance and who cares? He wants to dance with Mrs. Chen. Just possess her about it, bud. I don't know. And the military's tracking them too, by the way. So when the weird dog doesn't kill her, the military almost does. And then they kidnap Eddie and Venom and bring them back to Area 55. So if you just hadn't done that. Number 6 on the list of things that I liked is also just Mrs. Chen. I like that they found an excuse for Mrs. Chen to be here. They were like, well, we can't go to San Francisco. We already aren't going to have Ann and Dan. Mrs. Chen's just here in a really nice dress, looking absolutely fantastic, living her amazing best life. She gets to dance around and gamble and win and be adored. Yes, she does. As she should. Number 7, the pink ponytail symbiote. So there's many symbiotes in this movie. Area 55 had a whole bunch in the previously mentioned vats. And at the very end, Keely Jones, Dr. Teddy Payne, has a vial with a pink one in it. This, like all the other symbiotes, have been seen fused with random guys and like killed, I think. I think the weird dogs eat them and they're dead forever. I'm not sure. But Keely Jones has a pink one in a vial. And in a moment of desperation to try and save fucking Rosie from Letterkenny. Rosie from Letterkenny is in here, and her and Keely Jones have like a thing. They have like a lot of energy. Nothing confirmed, of course, because we're all cowards. But they have like a thing. And she fuses with the little pink symbiote to save Rosie Letterkenny. And I have to call her that because I don't know that character's name, unfortunately. Pink Venom has lightning superpowers. Whether that comes from the symbiote or from Keely Jones's tragic backstory, who's to say? They don't come up. She's a speedster also, which I guess goes hand to hand with the lightning powers, and she has a ponytail. None of the other symbiotes have ponytails. Just the pink one, which is probably a coincidence. Really bugged me. I don't know. When Rosie Letterkenny fused with a symbiote, she had like a cool turquoise one. She didn't have any hair at all. None of the other symbiotes have anything even resembling hair, and we saw a lot of symbiotes. Number 7 on the list of things that I liked were the other symbiote designs. It was so cool to see so many symbiotes. Maybe I don't like that the pink one had a ponytail. That's fine. I don't have to like that the pink one had a ponytail. The first one we see that's not Venom is like a mermaid. It's like green and has a tail that wraps all the way around, doesn't even have legs. It's like a smoke kind of tail thing. Oh, he's like a mythical creature. I loved that symbiote. I'm really sad that I'm pretty sure he's dead forever. And also, we never learned his name. He might have said his name. There was just no time to remember. It was too much happening. This movie's so short. We're getting into the real goddamn spoilers now. Okay? If you don't want me to spoil the ending of Venom 3: The Last Dance 2024, get out. Because I'm about to do it. Number 8 is Venom dies. Venom fucking dies. One of the taglines for this movie was "Till death do they part." Somebody strangle me. Venom fucking dies, killing a bunch of the weird dogs and protecting Eddie. He like covers Eddie with a door and he says goodbye for now, because that's what Martin taught them to say. Because it's nicer and it sounds nicer and more friendly and less sad. He says goodbye for now and he covers Eddie with a door and he gets Major Strickland, who we haven't mentioned once because I don't care about him, to cover them with acid that we have previously seen dissolving steel over and over again while Venom's like wrapped around the weird dogs. First off, the weird dogs are immortal. That has been proven time and time again in the movie. Fine. Maybe their weakness is acid, and we just had no proof of that until right now, and neither did Venom. quite frankly. I guess they have the same weakness as steel and symbiotes. I don't know. Second off, can symbiotes be killed by acid? Maybe. I remember their weaknesses being stated as pretty much exclusively fire and loud noise. Maybe also acid, I guess. I don't know. If it's strong enough to kill the weird dogs, it must be strong enough to kill the symbiotes. I was watching this baffled. Bamboozled, even. Number 8 on the list of things that I liked. They kept showing us Eddie and Venom being good with kids. When they were traveling with Martin and co., the little boy, it must have been Leaf, because maybe Echo was the teenage girl. The boy's real name, the actor's name is Dash. I saw that and I went, that's perfect. They could have just called him Dash in the movie too. They kept showing us Eddie and Venom being really good with him. They were like really comforting. Venom was really sweet with him. Martin and his family show up at the climax when everything is falling apart and exploding. Just to be problems, just to be obstacles, things to be saved. But they like prioritize the kids. They're great with kids. Yes, show me Eddie and Venom being good with kids. Yes, yes, yes. I want to see more of it. Thank you. If this was just the road trip movie I wanted it to be, there would have been so much more time for that. Instead, they kept putting in this movie about Area 55. We have to talk about the montage. Number 9 on my list is the montage. So, Venom fucking dies. And the thing about that is that Venom also died in the first movie, right? At the end, there with the rocket ship, Venom died to save Eddie. But at the end of the movie, we see that he in fact did not die. And somehow off screen, Eddie got Venom back. And they're like healing and they're lying to Anne together. And it's great. So in this movie, Venom died. Okay. And he even said goodbye for now at the end of it. And I went, okay, all right. I had already figured out a way that they were going to get Venom back with Eddie based on what they'd shown me previously in the movie. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Because right now what I'm talking about is the montage. Because what happens is Venom fucking dies. He dies. And then they show you Eddie Brock in New York. The place him and Venom were trying to go, conceivably, the entire time. They wanted to go see the Statue of Liberty together. Venom really wanted to see it. And Eddie goes to Statue of Liberty. And it is cut with scenes of Eddie and Venom together from the past 3 movies. Most of them from the movie you just watched. The very short hour-and-a-half long movie that you just watched. A few of them from Venom 1. And like 1 from Venom 2. The only scene in there that I recognized from Venom 2 was Venom at the nightclub. Which is objectively the best part of Venom 2. If you're going to include anything, you needed to include Venom with all of his like glow sticks, talking about how he's out of the closet, the best part of Venom 2. But the thing about that scene is that Eddie wasn't there. So what is he reminiscing about? Pretty much all the other scenes were him and Venom, like, being good together. Not that one. Anyway, it's set to Memories by Maroon 5. It's a montage to a Maroon 5 song. As I was just sitting there like, okay, so when are they gonna reveal that he already got Venom back? Like, when is he gonna turn around and something's gonna happen? And when is this montage gonna be over? I was so confused and surrounded by Maroon 5. And then Eddie Brock looks to the Statue of Liberty and says, I won't forget you, buddy. And then the movie ends. How are they still on a buddy basis? Is that a weird thing to get caught up on? They're still on a buddy basis? No, because let's talk about what kind of basis they're on. Okay? When they're being good with children in a van in like the middle of the movie, when I was having the time of my absolute life, loving this movie, believing it was the peak of all cinema, Venom says to Eddie, this is my list of things that I liked, by the way. I'm back to the list of things that I liked is this. Venom says to Eddie, we could have been happy with a life like this, referring to the family and the simple life and the not murdering and the crime. He's just like, hanging out with his family as they sing songs together. And it's very sweet. And Venom says, we could have been happy. We could have been happy with a life like this? With the two of you? The two of you together? With a little family? Say more about that, Venom. Tell me more about what you're thinking with that. I need to know. And then 5 minutes later, after Eddie has a terrible conversation with a small child, he's so much worse with people than he's ever been. He's devolving. Venom, instead of saying, hey, that was bad, you got to work on your social skills, he says, Eddie, you'd make a good dad. Not you would have made a good dad. You would. Like you still would. Right after asserting that the two of them together could be happy with a life like this. Hey, fellas, is it? Back to the main list. Okay, so pretend you're me, and you have just been sitting in a movie theater for an hour and a half, mostly having a really great time. But the last 10 minutes or so, you've been having this overwhelming feeling of dread and anticipation that something terrible is going to happen and not get resolved in a way that you can't be normal about, even a little bit. Okay? And then in fact that happens. And you don't feel normal. You don't feel anything at all. You maybe feel a little bit lost, a little bit abandoned by the movie you were watching, as though it just sort of set you down and walked away. And now the credits are rolling, and you know superhero movies. You've been to a few in your day. So you think, surely the credits sequences will save me. They must. And you're watching all the beautiful concept art of Venom fusing with elephants and sharks and things. And it's great. And everyone around you is leaving. It wasn't a packed theater, not at all. It was maybe half full. There were 1 million showings of Venom 3 that night. I don't know what the other theaters looked like. Mine was maybe about half full. And everyone was leaving. And I had this horrible thought. I was like, oh my God, maybe they all read somewhere that there is no post-credit scene in Venom 3: The Last Dance 2024, and I'm wasting my time. Maybe this was it. But that can't be true, because the movie just abandoned you, and it has to come back. So you wait. And there's a mid-credit scene, and you think, okay, here it is. Here's my closure. And the mid-credit scene is null. The villain, all the way on the other side of space. It's the villain setting up a tease for him returning in a future movie. Which is crazy, because there's not going to be any more Venom movies. Tom Hardy has said so. And then they show Nell's face for the first time, and he looks like whatever. He's completely unmemorable in appearance. They got Andy Serkis for that role, by the way. The number 10 thing that I really liked about this movie was Keely Jones, Ted Lasso, and Rosie Letterkenny having whatever it was that they were having together in the background. I do wish that there had been more on-screen confirmation of whatever it is they were having in the background, but there was definitely vibes and energy there, and I went into this movie in full delusion mode, so I was ready to just latch onto anything they gave me. And in that case, they did give me. They gave me something to hold on to there, and I liked it. I liked it very much. I hope they're very happy together. I hope that Keely Ted Lasso keeps her pink symbiote safe and happy, and that Rosie Letterkenny does not become resentful because her own symbiote got eaten by a weird dog, and she is now symbioteless. That would maybe make me upset a little bit. And now I get to talk about the vial of Venom. Very early on in the movie, we see that Dr. Keely Jones and Area 55 get their hands on a little itty-bitty tiny piece of Venom. Itty-bitty tiny piece of Venom. And they keep it in a vial down in Area 55. So, I remembered that. They didn't bring it up again. You saw Keely Jones messing with it for just a little bit at the beginning and then putting it away, and they do not mention it ever again. But I remembered. So I was thinking, after Venom, even while Venom was getting dissolved by acid, I was thinking, that's okay. That's okay, because at the end of this, they're going to show like Eddie mourning or whatever. Like they were showing his montage and I was like, okay, this is fine. This is fine. We have a little bit of a montage moment and then he's going to leave the Statue of Liberty and like go to a cute little restaurant or little cafe. And Dr. Keely Jones and Rosie Letterkenny are going to be there and they're going to hold hands, the two of them, and canonize their relationship. That's going to be really cute. She's going to like accidentally shock Rosie Letterkenny because she's still getting used to her lightning powers. It's going to rule. And then they're going to give Eddie the vial with a little bit of venom in it. And we don't even need to hear Eddie or Venom speak again. We can just like watch Eddie pop open the vial and see the little tiny bit of venom that's left like crawl out of the tube and absorb back into Eddie. Because they can live together in the same body safely. They just can't become Venom about it, or the weird dogs will come back because they're here looking for the codexes. You want to know what I didn't even say about the codexes earlier? A codex forms when the host dies and then the symbiote like fixes it and brings them back to life. That forms a codex. That happened to like 2 of the scientist symbiote combinations during the climax. I didn't even mention that. We see a guy get like fully stabbed through the heart and then a symbiote goes into him. And it's like, so they should also now have a codex, right? I don't understand. Why are they just allowed to do that with no consequence? Fine. I think that scientist and that symbiote died in that fight, so it doesn't matter. But I was thinking about it anyway. So clearly Keely Jones was going to give Eddie his symbiote back and they were going to be together and then we were going to see like Eddie smile and something like ripple under his skin and then the movie was going to end. I was so sure. I was so sure. Not like I had visualized this little cafe ending for myself, but I was just so sure that something was going to happen where Eddie was going to get that vial. Or like he was going to draw the vial out of his pocket and be like, you're not strong enough right now, but there she is. The statue you've been talking about wanting to see the whole goddamn movie. And when you're strong enough, we'll come back and you can see her with your real eyes or something. You know? He was going to get the vial. No. I'll never forget you, buddy. Smash cut to credits. That's what made me so lost, because I was so sure. Mid-credit scene, I was like, here it is now. No, it's null. So then I sit through what? Another 7 minutes of credits in this nearly empty theater. And I become more convinced every moment that there's not going to be another scene. And if there is another scene, it's going to be something stupid. It is Danny Rojas, Ted Lasso bartender. Because Area 55 kidnapped him at the beginning. Because he had like contact with the symbiote. They show him escaping Area 55 post-devastation. He's okay. A great thread to wrap up. Danny Rojas, Ted Lasso bartender, is fine. Thank God. And he starts stumbling across the desert alone. And then the camera pans. And it follows a fly as it lands on the edge of a tipped over test tube. A little vial with a little bit of black goop in it, leading you to assume that Venom will, as he's been doing to various animals all movie, fuse with this fly. And I guess go land on Danny Rojas, Ted Lasso bartender. And the two of them are now doing a road trip movie as Venom gains strength and slowly wargs into larger and larger animals. And they should probably go to San Francisco and find like Ann and Dan, because they all know how to find Eddie. I don't think Venom will be able to by himself. Lord knows Danny Rojas, Ted Lasso bartender won't. So there's an actual full road trip movie in this movie. It just happens after the movie ends and Eddie's not there. And we don't get to see them reunite. And this is the last Venom movie. So the last we ever are going to see Eddie Brock is staring longingly at the Statue of Liberty, believing himself to be alone in this world, with no friends and no symbiote. And that's the movie! And that's the movie! That's the trilogy. That's the trilogy. That's where all three movies lead to in the end. After all of that, Eddie believes he's alone and Venom has to rely on some guy off screen to hopefully fix this. No! That was number 11 on the list of things I liked, by the way, is that at least they teased the Venom isn't dead forever and he gets his own road trip movie. Like, at least. That's the least they could have done for him. Also, when Venom does reunite with Eddie, they can never do their crime fighting thing again because they can't fully fuse. They're still codexed. And Null is still out there with his weird dogs. But we've seen demonstrably in this movie that Venom does not have the self-control to keep his hands to himself around Eddie. When they're together, Venom is gonna wrap himself around that boy. He's gonna find an excuse and he's gonna do it immediately. So I guess they die by weird dog. I think that's the inevitable conclusion that we're leading to. I don't know what I wanted Venom 3 The Last Dance 2024 to be. I would have been so happy with most things if they just hadn't killed him or had a more satisfying ending. I wouldn't be making this video. I would have probably still thought about the movie for many days, too many days. But I wouldn't be so haunted by it, you know? Anyway, 4 out of 10. You should go watch Venom 3 2024. It's really fun. It's a really fun movie. There's a dance scene. The soundtrack is great. They've got Venom running around to Queen multiple times in this movie, which is so lovely. Really all I should be asking for. And instead, I'm being greedy and I want a satisfying conclusion to the trilogy. But that's just me. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about Venom for too long. Once again, my name is Haley Whipjack. If you would like to see more of the things that I do, check out the rest of my channel. If you really want to see more of the things that I do, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Haley Whipjack. And before I go, I absolutely must shout out my beautiful, wonderful, definitely 100% human, earthborn patrons such as Alcyon Hero, Annie G, Autumn Vector, Blar Dihar, Britty, Chatty C, Esme B Hart, Gwynrick, Joshua Caliendo, Catherine, Kazrin, Non-Toxic, _Ivy, Rue, Vesper Sinclair, Zachary Fly, Zebby Lown, Aaliyah, Abalab, Abigail DeCourt, Aiden Cassis, The Stronger Aiden, Aiden So Wood, Amy Ernst, AJ Holian, Akadoroku, Albandi Gyoza, Ellie XX, Alex, Amalia Ams, Anastasia, Anna Elise, Anna, Annie Teller, Archie Architang, Argentum Inc., Ariana Collier, Artemis Nix, Ash Hart, Ashley Fogel, Ashley Figura, Auralium, Avery Jack Thayer, Avery Little, Axerxes, Aiden, Azur, Babbity Kate, Bada Kid, Barb, Beard Acknowledge, Becca B, Beck, B, Bees, Bethany Draws Art, Blaine Belshie, Blake Stewart, Bobby Banner, Boob, Bowie, Boxer Cherubs, Brainboy, Caleb, Cam Achu, Cammy, Caroline Odin, Cass Carter, Casper Hope Tyndall, Cat in a Skin Suit, Celestia Storm Battle, Celt Code, Cerulia, Chronic Escapee, Claire Online, Clara Oswald Fan 23, Clemens Slime, Clever Name, Cloud and Mercury, Connie, Couchboys, Kuste, Dakota Lewanski, Danny B, Danny Sprague, Daniel Tefke, Declan Roof, Deals, Delaney, Devin Eller, Devin Meskill, Digimaniac 33, Ditto, Drake, Eli Gibson, Elysium, Embers, Emma B, Emma Kennedy, Emma S, NB Ennui, Eric Banks, Aaron Rumsey, Evil Scrump, Far Out Wonder, Felice R, Fletcher Sanderson, Flub, Foolery with Nori, Funky Elvis Monkey, Finch R, Gabriel Lairbag, Giant, Grim Harrison, Gregory Wise, Grimbus, Gungilf, Hadley Callahan, Hale, Hannah Anderson, Hannah Jeffrey, Harley, Harper Hex, Haven 2010, Heather Reed, Henry, Herman Rosario, Hey Meg's Here, Holly May, Hot Singles, Idiot Lesbian, Infinity Girl, Insane in the Brain, I Ship Genfix, It's a Secret, Izzy Alexander, Jackie, Jacob Chisholm, James Summers, Jamie, Jasmine, Jay Ochoa, Jane, Jenny Fosnacht, Jenny Wabu, Jericho, Jet, Jai Dem, Jordan, Jubilee, Julia S., Juliana Backer, Julie Stonky, JV, Kate, Kava Conrad, Kamaria, Kat Burchett Nelson, Kate Levia, Kathleen, Catherine Hill, KW, Kelsey Rodriguez, Kirby.jpeg, Keverlyn C., King Panda, Kitty Kitty Large Paws, KJ, Kyle Richardson, Kylie Dactyl, Lady Dawn, Lady Jessica, Lawson, Lee, Leezy's, Lemon, Lexi Scott, Libby, Lily, Lisa Spitalowitz, Lizzie Gale, Lucy Schneider, Luca M., Lydia Galarnu, Maya Farnas, Marcel Barth, Mary R., Matt Ross, Matt Dam, Matt Mobes, Max Roth, May, Megan, Micah, Michael West, Midnight Rose, $1 Million Cheese Wheel, Minnie's Mayhem, Mitchum and Ditchum, Mo Spooky, Molly Early, Moss Rose, Murph Wazir, My Actual Husband, Nick the Brick, Noah, Non-Existent Mountains Theory, Nora H., Nick Snacks, Alethea, Olive, Oliver Ryburn, Ali D., Opossum Mom, Oski the Bard, Paige Alexander, Panacea, Pete Alexander, Philip Dameron, Fix, Phoenix, Poblato, Poetic Cinema, Poorly Fleshed Skeleton, Prettiest Bearded Lady, Quintanamo Bay, Rainbow Namja, Rat Scratch, Razin, Rebecca Dawn, Reed Brody, Ren, Robin Eckberg, Roman Landslide, Ricky Baby, Rosemary Finch, Rowan C., Ryan Hlavkick, Samantha Althol, Saphicus Finch, Sarah Ann, Seabass of the Sea, Simon Says, Simran, Site 42, Space Battery, Spartan Warrior, Spapples, Steen, Steph Bell, Stephanie U., Sticks, Supercalifragilisticexistential Severe E., Sydney, Silas SSS, Taylor Burke, Tex the Gentle Giant, The Luciest Fruit, The Plum Satyr, The Sheriff, Thomas Guzzo, TJ Dash, Toby Springer, Tommy Peterson, Trinlise Anderson, Trissadale, Ty, Unusual Willie, Your Mom, Val Hallen, Vunks, Weatherwaxes, Wes, Will, Wood, Woody Daniel, Ren, Xander, Yes Chef, Yizna, Ngve Leo, Zach, Zachary Wayman, and Zane! Thank you so much. Hope you liked the video, and I will see you next time. My new recording space doesn't have a door. It's curtains. It's curtained off section of a room, but there's no door, which means the cats are going to be more varied, I believe, coming up here. We'll see how much Hermes wants to hang out now that the other cats can come bother him here at any moment. I'll do my best. I would never deprive you of my perfect son.